Nicole, I can't imagine. I can't imagine how you're feeling right now. Please share with us what these parents are dealing with. What are they going through?
I can only speak from my own experience that the shock that overtook me. I mean, I don't think these parents at the moment have any idea what's just happened and what's to happen in the days or weeks to come. I mean, this is not normal. This is not natural in any way, shape, or form. This is not something that you think about, even though there have been so many shootings. No one expects to take their child to school in the morning and never see them again. No one expects their child to be killed in circumstances like this or in any other circumstance. So I know I shut down after the murder of Dylan. It was several days before I could do anything. So, and even right now, I am feeling in shock yet again, just reliving that day and thinking about what these families in that community are going through right now.
I only imagine. It is, our children are supposed to bury us, right? I mean, that's the deal that it's supposed to be. Sandy Hook was supposed to be the last time this ever happened because people were supposed to be in such utter shock that even surely the most pro-NRA politicians would pass the laws we needed to pass. How does it strike you as somebody who lost a baby, a child, a 6-year-old in Sandy Hook, that since then, nothing? I mean, at the state level, some states like Colorado and others, but at the national level, nothing.
You said Sandy Hook should have been the last. Sandy Hook shouldn't have even ever been the first.
Indeed.
It's just not. It's just
Indeed.
not right. And when I think about, so this is when we're going to start hearing all the same sort of messaging coming out.
Yep.
We're going to hear politicians who have voted no on simple measures come out and offer thoughts and prayers, but no action. We're going to hear politicians talking about how it's too soon and that others are politicizing, yet at the same time, they'll be talking about we should be arming more people or having more armed security guards, which is them politicizing the situation. Mm-hmm. We're going to hear the same rhetoric. And unfortunately, one of the things that has changed since Sandy Hook is the divisiveness that has grown in this country so much in the last 10 years. So while I am hopeful and always will be hopeful that there's going to be change, I just don't know how many people, how many children have to die before politicians stop caring as much about their political careers as they do about their constituents and the lives of the children where they live, where they grow up, because these shootings are everywhere.
Yeah.
And it's just, I don't know how they look at themselves in the mirror most days. There are some courageous people there, and there are a lot of people that I just wonder sometimes if they even have a soul. It's ridiculous, and things will change. But I also think I'm not relying on Congress to make those changes for us. I'm looking for the people, and I'm looking at, this is a generation. When I think about Sandy Hook 10 years ago, these are kids now that this is all they've known their entire life for school shootings, and the psychological trauma of that and the impact of that. They're the ones that are going to create the change because our Congress isn't going to do it for them. But these kids that for over a decade we have traumatized through our inaction, they're the ones who are forever shaped by the fact that we did nothing.
I mean, the Parkland kids, who I adore, who, grew up 15 minutes from where I was raising my kids when I was in Florida, they were the Sandy Hook kids 10 years older.
Correct.
Right? They were the Sandy Hook kids, and they just 10 years older. We seem to have learned nothing. I want to read you something that Senator Chris Murphy, who is the most passionate, because when we say we're giving up on Congress, let's just be clear. Democrats in Congress have passed gun reform repeatedly. It isn't the House of Representatives that isn't trying to do it. Democrats in the House keep passing these bills. It's the Senate. And the United States is 10 Senate votes away, and I will say maybe 11 because we can't always count on the senator from West Virginia. We're like 11 senators away, 11 human beings in a country of 327 million people. We're 11 people away from getting the gun reform that would at least, you know, it can't change and can't give any meaning. It's senseless what happened to your baby. But at least it would mean there'd be not another mom that has to deal with what you're dealing with. We're 11 people away, y'all. This is not impossible. We just need to replace 11 people out of 100 senators. And you could have change. I want to read you what Senator Chris Murphy said, who is a good guy and who is trying. He said, as he's walking off the Senate floor, spare me the BS, he didn't say BS, about mental illness. We don't have any more mental illness than any other country in the world. You cannot explain this through a prism of mental illness because we don't. We are not an outlier on mental illness. What do you say to the people who try to do the mental illness excuse when these massacres happen? Because it's true. There's mental illness all over the world. There's video games, mental illness, isolation, incels, everywhere. It's only, the massacres are only happening here.
I agree. And there are solutions that we can do in terms of someone who's troubled, because we know that there are signs that come out. We know that there are events that escalate into these things. People don't just snap and take their weapons and kill other people, especially going into an elementary school. That is not an everyday behavior. However, Chris Murphy's absolutely right, and he is a champion. It's about the access to weapons. So the 11 people that you're talking about, obviously background checks is something that has been debated, and there's not even a bill on the floor right now, as I understand it, in the Senate to even have that debate. So that's an action that can be taken. There's also measures like safe storage. How are children getting hands on these weapons? It's not about taking away the guns. It's about being responsible with who can access them at what point. And I still don't understand some of the weapons of choice of mass shooters. I don't know which weapons this shooter used, but I'm sure we'll learn more as the investigation comes out. But there are significant actions that Congress can take that should be bipartisan, because it's really about being people partisan. It's about doing what's needed for people to live their lives and free and happy and live out their lives. But I also think that there's so much more that can be done as well. And I'm not just relying on Congress, because I think this is a behavioral thing as well. And we can't legislate for behavior, but we can certainly enforce behavioral change that we want to see.
Indeed.